happy to be doing this with you.
Me too. I'm a huge fan of yours. And I also wanted to point out that a few years ago, there was this meme challenge to post your very first headshot. And your very first headshot is exactly like my very first headshot. We look like we're the same person. It is so funny.
I'm looking at this right now and I'm just like, excuse me, BlogHer, did you just like hook me up with my goal weight? We look like a before and after picture for People magazine, and Jillian Michaels is so proud somewhere in the corner.
Yeah, this is amazing.
I love it though. And my mom was so happy to tell me that you are Jamaican, because she is Jamaican, and you know, Jamaican moms are just like, they're just like a walking 23andMe episode.
Yeah, they are. I mean, well, when I asked my parents what I am, because that's what I was asked growing up, what are you? What are you? They're like, well, you know, you have some Indian and you have some, you know, German and you have some Dutch on one side. And I'm like, you know, and then they start going into who I'm related to. They're like, well, Heavy D was your cousin, and Colin Powell was your cousin.
My mom dated Sean Paul's older brother in choir, like in the 20s. I'm like, what? It's great. Yeah, you know what's so funny too? Everybody always asks not only what are you to me, but then it's followed up with what do you consider yourself? And because I was born and raised in America, and there's the 1% rule, it's like I've always identified as a big, beautiful Black woman, you know, that is masked. And I, you know, if I really had to get into details, it would be Caribbean American, because my parents are from Jamaica and Haiti. But wow, like the confusion on people's faces when you say Jamaica and Haiti and then you show up light-skinned. Like I had someone be like, how come you're not darker with a basket of fruit on your head? And that was a guy counselor. I'm like, girl, do better.
Wow. Did you ever notice that people just think that you are what they are? Like Indian people think I'm Indian, Ethiopian people think I'm Ethiopian. They just see kind of themselves in you, and you it's kind of like disappointing. I mean, for me, they're disappointed when I'm like, no, I'm actually Jamaican, surprise, you know. I was actually born in Jamaica, and then they're like, well, do the accent. And, you know, I just try to do the accent. I can't do the accent. My parents think I sound Trinidadian, which I don't know even the difference between Jamaican and Trinidadian accents. So that's how bad I am at accents. But yeah, it was a struggle growing up. It also, because my parents were all from Jamaica. Everyone's from Jamaica. We came here in 1980. And so they were, you know, checking the box of African American, but at home we were Jamaican, you know. And so it was really confusing, because growing up, I was African American, but then at home I was Jamaican American, and people didn't even really see the difference between those things.
Absolutely.
And I think that's the big thing that I think people on the right sometimes forget. It's not about labeling people, it's about how you're treated. And we both had an experience based on how we look. And that's just how society sort of works. We treat people like what we see, and our eyes aren't seeing, our brains are seeing. And so our minds are like, well, this is what this person is, and so this is how I'm going to treat them. It's kind of like that joke about like the lion, where like, you know, a lion walks around and everyone's like, ah, you know, when the lion comes around, and the lion's like, oh, I guess I'm scary. So that the lion has decided now that they're a scary thing because everyone is scared of them. And so like your identity is just mixed up in how people treat you.
Yeah, you know, I think in my late 30s, I was really done with people's definition of who I should be, how I should act, how I should look, because it's exhausting. It's something that you can't ever keep up with, you know, to have to constantly, especially working in Atlanta right now for BET on a Black show, and having to sort of have an elevator pitch for my ethnic history is wild. You know, I'm just always like, look, we are stronger together, no matter what shape, size, or shade. Can we just move on? Because at the end of the day, it really is the patriarchy saying, no, this is better and that is better. And it's like, no, we all good. Okay. Yeah. We are all good. And you know, my favorite thing too is like when people are like, you don't look Jamaican. I'm like, have you been there?
Yeah, I know.
And they've been to Jamaica, Queens. That's it.
Yeah, my grandmother was full Chinese. She was Jamaican and she was full Chinese. So yeah.
Yeah, I have Chinese family too. And up until like maybe 5th grade, I only thought Chinese people had a Jamaican accent.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
some people have never seen a Chinese person with Jamaican accent. And I will say it's fascinating. There's last time I went to Jamaica, which was a long time ago, my grandfather used to live in the country, and there were little white kids in school in Jamaica, little white kids with full-on patois accents, and it was adorable, but people don't see that side of it.
They really don't. And I don't know, I feel like, isn't it great that we have a platform where we could sort of, my whole thing is education through love, you know?
Yeah.
Because wow,
I like that.
Colorism is alive and well. You know, a lot, I don't know if this happens for you, but a lot of people will say, oh, did you get that job because you're light? Or you must do this because you're light. I'm just like, no, I'm still an ethnic woman that is a size 18-20. So I'm still not fuckable by somebody's standards. So I'm still out here trying to be the best version of myself. So good.
Yeah.
But yes. I think it's important to recognize that colorism exists, but also I just keep telling people again, stronger together. Like, let's like take Black the Night.
Yes, take back the night. Did you say take Black the night?
I did!
Take Black the night. I like it.
Thank you. I love these questions. Okay. Ooh, how did we become content creators? I like that question.
I mean, I was just like out of the womb, just always just like, you know, trying stuff like, is this funny? Is this funny? I have a little cartoon that I made that's just like from cradle to the grave of just like, is this funny? Is this funny? Is this funny? Like, I'm just always like, even after I'm dead, I'm going to be a ghost haunting people. Like, does this work? Is there something here? You know, I've just always loved entertaining. I was the youngest of four, and I was the one who was making everyone sort of laugh after an argument or a fight or any kind of tension in our house. And so I was the class clown. And for a while I studied Shakespeare and wanted to make people cry and be dramatic. And that was my first headshot, was just this like very serious, like smoldering look. But then when I tried stand-up, which was the first time I tried stand-up was at 32, I realized, oh, I actually like making people laugh a lot more than I like making people cry. So I just always liked performing and telling stories and doing that stuff.
I love that you know that about yourself. I'm like really such a late bloomer. I'm the only child. So I just feel like, oh, I guess I had a good imagination because I had to entertain myself. Like,
oh yeah.
I learned a duet, like both parts of duet on the piano. So I could just play. So sad. And
you
then
play piano?
Yeah.
Can you sing too?
No, I don't sing. It's so funny. I don't sing. I know my tits, which suggests otherwise, but there's no singing. It's a happy birthday. It's a lot of classical music. It's like a ghetto Nora Jones that doesn't know she has a voice. But but yeah, I used to do this magazine because we lived in a cul-de-sac in Jersey called Head Over Heels, and it was like a severed head in a shoe. And I used to put it in the neighbors' mailboxes and be like, hey, you know, so-and-so's dog pooped here, and Christmas is coming. And I thought it was a great idea until the neighbors asked my parents to stop putting stuff in their mailbox.
Yeah. You were doing, that was like they were your audience.
Yeah, they were.
And then you got your first audience taken away from you.
I sure did. I'm like, you will hear from me one day, bitch.
I mean, that was a good experience because that's what Hollywood is like for a lot of the time. They're like, we don't want that. We actually don't want that. Stop doing that.
Yes, I really grew up in rejection. But I do love that. I think a lot of comedy is definitely trying to figure out how to deal with pain. So, you know, especially after an argument or something really hard in your life, it's like,
yes,
let's look back at that and figure out how we can get through it with a laugh and a smile. I mean, you know, I'm not that person at a funeral that's just going to be cracking jokes, but, you know, definitely try and lighten the mood.
Yeah, I loved the Gary Shandling documentary that had his funeral. I don't know if you saw that, but it was so funny, but also so heartwarming. I mean, the fact that people were able to laugh and celebrate him that way, I think that would be, for me, that would be my ideal funeral. Even my wedding, my vows, the first line of my vow is Jeff. Like I called him the wrong name as the first line. That was it's just I don't know, like being able to laugh is just, there's just something about it. There's something about that joy that, especially now, I feel like it's just so special and we need it.
Right. I feel, getting back to the content creating of it all, you know, I didn't see myself in a lot of places. Like, I wanted to be an entertainment reporter. I had a professor tell me I was too fat to be on camera. And I was like, right,
I had a teacher in high school who told me I was going to be too fat to be in Hollywood. Yeah. I mean, what's wrong with this world?
Wrong with fired. You know what I mean? This is like before we had cameras on our phones.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you just tell a young mind, a young burgeoning mind, that they can't do something that is so crazy, you are fired.
Yeah. At 17 years old, you tell a 17-year-old girl that she's too big to be on stage. I mean, it's hard.
Isn't that crazy? Well, my whole mantra now is, if you don't want to hear from me, you're going to hear about me. Bye, bitch. So yes. Remember your Netflix password, motherfucker. But yeah, creating content, I feel like, always comes from, if you don't see yourself, then, like, you know, make space for yourself. I don't know if you feel the same way, but
I feel like almost the opposite of that. I feel like I don't know what that was, but
oh, I'm sorry, that was me.
Oh God. No, it's not that I'm like, I don't see myself, so I want to be there. I think it actually affected me not seeing myself and just being like, well, I'll never get to do that. I don't see myself, so that's just not something I'm going to get to do. And I think because of that, I tried so many different things. I started my first blog when I was like, 24. I had many blogs. I tried cartooning, I tried acting, I tried singing, I tried improv, I tried sketch, I tried everything, just because I really didn't know what I was going to be able to do. And the thing that made me really like put myself out there is that question of like, if I don't do this, then there won't be someone like me up there. It's actually on me to do that, so that was kind of my experience with that. And I think that's true for a lot of maybe people listening. I think, sometimes if you don't see yourself, maybe it has to be you, and you need to take that chance so that you can inspire someone else.
Yeah, I always say it doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be done. Some of those talented friends will just talk themselves into a corner and never want to show anything they've done or like finish it or whatever. And I'm just like, there are basic people here running around, getting deals, making money. You should feel okay. I used to produce those basic people, thinking like, why am I giving my shine away? This is for me. So yeah, do it.
That's the saddest thing about a lot of the world is that sometimes the loudest people who have the most confidence don't actually have anything to back it up. And that was a big thing behind my Trump videos too, was just, I wish I could get away with that. I can't, but like this idea you can just be brash and loud and say absolutely nothing and have no expertise whatsoever, no talent, and just through sheer force of will, get this huge platform. And so many people are able to do that. So I want more people who are actually talented to have that kind of confidence. And a lot of it's women. A lot of women, need to just get that confidence, because there's so many people out there who have the spotlight who don't necessarily deserve it. And there are people that deserve it that don't ever get it.
Absolutely. And getting back to what you said before, for real, the takeaway is and always is, if you don't see yourself, that's a good thing, because then you'll stand out.
Yeah.
These questions are great. How have social justice issues or moments impacted or changed your work? Well, I feel like you just answered that too, honey.
Very organic. Yeah. I don't know. I just can't ignore the world. I've noticed. Whatever I'm doing, it's all like input. So whatever's going on, I feel like it's something I want to talk about and contribute to. Oh my gosh, what is happening?
I have a table read today and it just got canceled. So everyone's like trying to let me know. Which is great, because, when I get
actually, you just gave me an idea. Because I have this whole series of like how to appear smart in meetings. And I think one way to appear smart in an online meeting is just to have like your phone blowing up, because it just makes you look like you're in demand and you've got other things going on. So I think you did that on purpose.
Yep, that's what I did. But it's so funny because I feel like I'm a good person, but when it comes to doing any sort of edits on my very basic MacBook Air, I'm just like, talk to me like I'm 5. I can't believe I'm allowed to read. Like I need the help. Like thank God for my husband that could put together IKEA furniture and like take the spider out of the house. What would I do? I would fold like a beach chair. What were we just? Oh, social. Yes. You know what? There's no way. Just as a woman who is not white, as a woman who is not white living in America, as a woman who's not white living in America, who is a truth teller and has a platform, it's just like, how do you not say something? It's like, especially now, because if you don't say something, it's sort of like you're condoning that behavior. And, Chris Rock once said, you really could talk about anything as long as it's funny. And I'm like, fair enough. Like, how do I make this funny? Like when the Me Too stuff was happening and Time's Up, I was like, this is so horrible that so many women from all walks of life have experienced some sort of just besides misogyny, just like, what's the word I'm looking for? Injustice, sexism, all of that stuff. And so when I don't even know how I came up with like, nobody wants to see your dick. I think I was tipsy at a brunch with friends. I'm just like, why are all these old white men taking out their like gray little pink dicks? Nobody wants to see your dick. And they were laughing. And I was like, is that funny? And then it became like sort of like this battle cry, like people all over the world would be like, these guys, I was at a club and they took their dicks out on the dance floor. Who is taking the dicks out on the dance?
Oh my God. I went on so many dates where men would just take their dick out. I thought maybe it was a class they took when they were younger. And it was just like, this is how you get a girl. You just whip it out and she won't be able to resist. Like I would, sitting in a car after a date, like saying goodbye, like, oh, no nighttime smooch, no nighttime hug, nighttime, look at my penis. I'm like, what?
No. And don't tell me that boys will be boys. That is some bullshit. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to see your dick.
Nobody wants to see dick.
No, I'm not saying you have to be like the Joy Reid or the Don Lemon of your comedy show, but damn, you gotta say something. I think it's your duty as an artist to say something.
Yeah.
Oh, that made me so hot. Even like I was a 13-year-old girl in Center City, Philadelphia, visiting my parents for lunch when they were working there. And this guy like had a trench coat on and like flashed me.
Wow.
And I was like, that is like, I know I looked older because my body was like more mature, but I'm like, why would you do that to somebody? Like, that is just not okay. I was in the 8th grade. Like I was still playing Barbies.
I think that's like a felony or misdemeanor. So I feel like that actually, I mean, that's not good. Yeah, whatever should have been reported, I think.
I know, but then you're 13 years old and you're like, is it something it's just, we gotta protect each other is what.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next question before I start flipping this table like a Jersey. What is the most challenging aspect of your work as a content creator and what comes easiest? Ooh.
For me, ideas. Like I have so many ideas. Doing them is what's hard. So I wish I could just be paid to just come up with ideas. I think eventually, like I do want to just be like a producer because I feel like I have so many things I want to see done, but I don't have the energy to do them.
Absolutely. It really is. I don't know if it's like this for you, but sometimes it's hard for me to sleep because I can't stop thinking of things. Yes. And I'm like, how does Tina Fey do it? Like she has like really followed through and like all her fucking ideas. And I'm like,
she is my hero. Oh my God.
Right?
I know we're supposed to be talking about Black heroes. But like she is.
But she's an ally.
The amount of content work, that she has created that she does every single year blows me away.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love that she also, her pool of talent is just like, large and wide and so different and beautiful. I'm just like, how many people, did not know who Tracy Morgan was and now do, you know what I mean? It's like,
right.
Yeah, just fucking fabulous.
I fell in love with Tracy Morgan on her show. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
He would love to hear that. Go Sarah! Go Sarah!
He was the last person I saw on stage before the pandemic. I saw him at Comedy Cellar. Yeah, he was the last person I saw. Yeah.
That is so crazy. When's the last time you performed?
On stage?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in Fairfield, Connecticut. It's probably the end of like February last year. Yeah. How about you?
Girl, March 1st, 2020 is when I taped my Netflix special.
Oh, wow.
The last time I performed, and I picked that date because it was my Jamaican grandmother's birthday. And she passed away about 10 years ago, but I always, not even into numerology because I'm bad at math. But I'm like, that's so special. Like, it feels
a
like
numerologist who's bad at math is hysterical, by the way. Write that down. That's so funny.
Great, another idea I'll never get to. Yeah, but it's so crazy that like the Rona was out, COVID was out, but we were still out. And so I'm just glad I got the special done because grandma was like, make that content and get that check.
Yeah, I'm watching reality shows now that were shot when it was just starting. And so it's like reliving the whole thing again, like Below Deck Med. They're just like, 900 cases in the US, it'll be fine. I'm like, oh my God.
I know. The same with the Housewives. They're like, this is just a political scheme because it's an election year. And I'm like, is it? Oh, see? Is it? Oh my God, I can't. But I actually do enjoy reality TV when they're sort of like entering the corona of it all because shut up.
Blowing up.
Because it makes me feel less crazy. I'm like, I was that too. I forgot. I was like, 2 weeks, we'll be fine. A month?
I know.
You can use a month off.
And now my desk is covered with masks. I just have masks everywhere. They're just masks. Yeah.
I put my outfits together according, like, from which mask I wear. Like, who is she?
Oh, okay. Well, I just wear a black mask now. I realize I can't coordinate.
God, the most challenging aspect as a content creator. Easy. I agree with you. Ideas are very hard. Also, I feel like, and I don't know if this even is a thing for you, but especially when my Netflix special dropped, I was like, I hope people enjoy it. I hope I don't have to deal with like getting canceled or like offending somebody because I have an opinion. I don't read comments, but I have been bullied before in a way where security, like Viacom security, had to step in because if you have like a certain amount of death threats and rape threats, then like they step in. And so I never want to do that again because walking down the street, now all you do is see people's eyes. It just feels unsafe sometimes to share your opinion, which is crazy. But
it is.
That's like the hard part.
I have a new theory on that, which is that I think right now online there are left-wing trolls, which are, I think they're not real, but they are people who will find anything wrong with what you say. And then somebody who isn't a troll sees that and says, oh, that's actually a good point. Maybe she shouldn't have used the word depression, and so I feel like that's what's happening right now. And it's making people like really at each other's throats online, especially because everyone's so isolated and they're looking to Twitter, they're looking to Facebook to connect with people. And so it feels like not a good situation right now that we're in.
Truly. I mean, how did you feel when your Netflix show dropped?
I felt good. This is kind of related to a later question, but I mean, it was one of those things where I didn't know what the hell I was doing at all. I think that the reason it came out as well as it did was through the sheer force of will of Natasha Lyonne and Maya Rudolph, because they are so amazing to work with. But I was literally like writing things, throwing things out up until the last second. And that's not a way to shoot a special at all. So I'm sorry, Natasha and Maya, if you're listening to this, but so I think it was kind of like I wanted it to be a lot bigger than it ended up being. And so I learned a lot through that experience. It was just a huge learning experience for me.
Right. And that's what it is sometimes, right? It's like, it's just a big old learning experience. And I do feel like if you stop learning, then it's like you stop growing. And what's the point of that?
Yeah.
Because as comedians in New York City, we're always just like, look at me. No one's looking. I'm saying all these things. And then when they start looking, you're like, oh my God, why are you looking at me? And then you have to like, figure out what that is. But man, I'm proud of you. You should be proud. I'm not saying that you're not proud of you, but it's a big deal. Oh, this is related to the next question. When's the last time you failed miserably? And what did you do? We can edit and post.
Yeah, edit. Just put it together. Make it make sense. Yeah. I mean, I'm just so new to all of this stuff. And I feel like doing the transit, I feel like you had a more of a traditional comedian's career. I kind of had been doing stand-up for 10 years on and off. I worked at Google for a while. I wrote a book. I wrote another book. I still trying stand-up. And then I ended up like getting sort of my big break through these TikTok videos. And so like trying to use that as like a platform to like launch myself. That's kind of where I'm at now. I'm like, how do I move on to the next thing, which is what I really want to do. So,
right.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. What are your books? Who are you?
Oh. I wrote a book called 100 Tricks to Appear Smart in Meetings. And then I also wrote a book called How to Be Successful Without Hurting Men's Feelings.
Ooh, child, you better say it loud and proud.
And I was thinking, yeah, how to be successful without hurting men's feelings. I'm going to get so much hate mail for this, but actually I got so many messages from men like, wow, is this what it's like in male dominated industries for women? And I'm like, yeah. And a lot of them were like, I really liked getting that perspective that you gave me. And I was like, oh, wow, that's amazing. So maybe things are changing.
I love that so much. I mean, yeah. I just wrote a book, Survival of the Thickest, plus size.
I love it.
And yeah, I mean, that was probably one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Yeah, that's why I put cartoons in mine, because it takes up a lot of the pages. Yeah.
I love it. I really had to cut out a lot of stuff too, because when I read the first pass, I was like, am I a hoe that just doesn't like their mom? No, I'm much more than that. You know, because my uncle is the Archbishop of Jamaica, and so my family is very Catholic. And then
your uncle is the Archbishop of Jamaica?
Hi everyone, BlogHer.
Wait, yes. We're probably related, Michelle.
I know. I mean,
oh my God. We actually probably are. Like, that's crazy.
I will see you on ancestry.com to see what kind of like cousins we is. But yeah, truly. So yeah, I mean, you know, sort of coming into my own in my late 30s, early 40s, after being married for 10 years and trying to have kids, and like realizing that like, look, I'm not a hoe. I'm just owning my sexuality. I'm body positive. I'm sex positive. Everyone should have that moment, you know? Yeah. I'm like, wow, this is so great. And like the only thing that kept coming to my mind is just like, you are enough. You are enough. Like we are always enough. And I don't think we tell each other that enough.
Yes, that is basically my entire thing, is realizing the reason why like 100 Tricks to Appear Smart meetings was all the things that men were doing in meetings just to make it look like they knew what they were talking about when really they had no idea what they were saying. And it just took me like recently to realize the reason why I was writing all those things down and observing was because I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like I had to be like that in order to, you know, be seen as a leader, or to be seen as, you know, someone who people should listen to. I had to imitate, you know, and realizing, oh, I'm enough just sitting here, just being myself, is a huge thing that I have to remind myself every single day.
Yes, it is like eating enough greens or drinking enough water. Also, yeah. You are enough. And, you know, I love that I have kids now and I can like, you know, send these little souls out in the world, hopefully doing the best job that I can to let them know that people are always going to have shit to say, and you just keep it moving. You just show them. You don't always have to tell them. You just show them. Ooh, I'm going to cry. I miss my kid.
Where are they?
I'm shooting in Atlanta, and they're in New York with their dad, who apparently thinks he's a single father because he just adopted another dog.
How many dogs?
Sorry?
How many dogs do you have now?
Well, we have 2 now. You know, we have a lab mastiff who is gorgeous and beautiful, and she's 100 pounds in my goal weight. And now we have a Jack Russell Chihuahua. And so he can't.
And 2 kids.
He can't. I see so much poop before 11 a.m. He's not allowed to do any more things.
Oh my God.
Oh, I missed a question. Who are your Black women comic comedian heroes? Which is such an interesting question, because I feel like, much like what you were saying, you know, the traditional road to comedy, and then the umbrella of just like, you know, creator. I always find that a hard question, because a lot of my favorite comedians are the ones that you've never heard of, the ones working at the Cellar and Gotham and all these other places that are just like working for that $75 spot and coming up with amazing stuff. So that's always a hard question for me. And then also like Wendy Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, like all these people that, you know, don't necessarily do stand-up, but are just hilarious women who did not have like a famous Hollywood dad who was a director giving them like the hookup. They were just out there putting themselves out there, death threats and all.
Mm-hmm.
Way before they were clapbacks.
Yeah.
You know, doing the thing. I would even say Houston was hilarious. Like,
oh yeah, God, I loved funny. Her. Yeah. Anyway. I was just gonna say that when I did The View, I was waiting online in a Zoom room and Whoopi came on and she was just talking to me. She was just like, this is so great. You should be so proud. And I didn't realize that I thought, is this the interview or are you just talking to me? And she's like, we're just talking. This isn't being recorded. Nobody's watching this. We're just talking. I just want you to know that no matter what anyone says, what you're doing is great. And don't let anyone take that away from you. And I was like, Whoopi Goldberg, thank you so much. Like, I just couldn't believe like how awesome she was. Like, she was incredible.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like the most talented people are always the most secure and helpful, and they're never intimidated by someone's shine. And if anyone makes you feel bad, not you, but like anyone obviously makes you feel bad for having an opinion, wanting to stay safe in a COVID-related environment, not being comfortable with something, just speaking up, even if it's at a doctor's office, fuck them. You have to be your own bodyguard. You have to look out for you, and don't ever apologize for it. Just say, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm having a time in Atlanta, but this has been amazing. I know that you have to go.
Yeah.
Right?
I guess, I don't know.
I know you have the other thing coming up.
I think that you have a lot more going on in your life than I do, but that's okay. My phone is not blowing up.
Oh my goodness. Well, it was.
I did want to shout out Sam J and Janelle James. I do. Those are two of my favorites. And I just wanted to say that because I've been watching them and they're just so inspiring.
They're just so good. See what happens when you're just like yourself. It is amazing. Jeannie Asheray, Marina Franklin. I mean, Francesca Ramsey, Naomi Ekperigin. Like,
Naomi, I love her.
I could just like fangirl all damn day, and I just feel like do yourself a favor if you don't know, if you just know like two Black female comedians, please go on Google or Instagram and just go to hashtag and just like educate yourself, because I'm so tired of like the internet saying that women aren't funny. We are.
Yeah.
We're actually funnier than you. So
yeah. Excuse me.
Don't get us started. All right. Well, I hope to see you in person, vaccinated, having like, brunch, maybe an overpriced artisanal pizza out of a brick oven. That would be really fun.
Would love that. Some avocado toast. That would be amazing.
Yes.
I think we forgot to say that we're so excited to be here at BlogHer.
Thank you, BlogHer, for having us.
Thank you, BlogHer.